Well, good day, everybody. Welcome here to Frozen Valley Engineering, the third division of the Frozen Valley franchise. Today, we are going to be designing a race car. That's right, a race car. It's going to be called the Frozen Valley Engineering Aurora, or FVE Aurora. And it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be basically a road homologated race car. It's going to have lots of power. I think a V10 or a V12 in there, turbocharged, obviously. And all-wheel drive. It's going to be fast, basically. And then we're going to go around and test it once we're done building it. But let's just hop right on into it and let's see where we get from here. Now, our budget for this car is $3 million to make it, which is pretty high dollar, but it's going to be a fast car. So we're going to go with a full carbon fiber shell here with the monocoque chassis and carbon fiber chassis as well. So we got that. We're going to have this monocoque tub in here, which is what that means, really. I'm not going to bother with the interior on this one. I'm not an interior designer. We're going to go for a mid longitudinal engine, meaning it'll go this way on the car. Actually, you can't see my mouse. Never mind. It goes like north-south on the car. And double push-rod suspension. And hike up the quality there, because it's not going to be cheap to make this car. What should this engine be called? Yeah, you know what? We're going to call it the V12 B1 1.0. That'll be our cool engine name here. So it's going to be a 60 degree V12. Looks like it still fits in there. It's not going to be a little thing either. It's going to be, I think we're going to bore it out a little bit, lower the stroke so we can have higher RPM. I'm going to go for about a 7.2 liter. It's not as big as we can fit in there, but 7.2 liters is just massive anyways. I think we're going to go with the magnesium block. Dual overhead cam, 4 valve. Or do we go with 5? I think we go 5 valve. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. And aluminum silicon head there, because we're cool kitten. Of course, billet internals. This is going to be a pricey car, so just nothing but the best components here. Hike up the quality a little bit. I want to run about 8,500 RPM to 9. We'll mess around with this later. Variable valve timing, of course. Turbocharger, and we'll just go with the race preset here. Injection, of course, direct injection per cylinder. Race intake may as well. Looks cool. It's just gonna run on premium, not super. It's like I said, it's a road homologated race car. Let's see if we can't get 8,500 out of it. Dual exhausts, of course, big boys. High flow 3-way catalytic converter, reverse flow, and a baffled second muffler. So we're already making 523 horsepower, and I want to make about 800, I think. We'll see if we can do that. We'll see what we can squeeze out of this engine. We're getting valve float, though. That's not good. Okay, so for some reason that decided to crash. Cool. Well, first off, I think, yeah, our top end, if we raise the quality, yeah, that deals with our valve float. So, let's start tuning this engine to make about 850 horsepower. If we can make more is always better. So, especially when you're trying to sell vehicles. So we're going to up the cam profile, so it's got a more aggressive lobes on it, so it'll really slam it every time, right? We can rev up to 9,800 is where components start to break, but we don't have to push up to that. We'll see if we make more power up that high in the rev range. We'll see. We might raise up the power a little bit. 853 power, just like that. Horsepower, just like that. Let's lower the compression a little bit. Raise up this. Hokey fritz. I think we've got to set our sight. This is a $3 million car. I guess 800 horsepower is kind of rookie numbers. So let's keep just dropping the compression and see how much power we can squeeze out of this 7-liter V12. I think we're going to sacrifice a little bit of power so that we can have a smoother power delivery. Because after all, we do want this to be a bit of a driver's car. See, we're losing power, but everything's a lot smoother up there now. We'll up the quality just a bit of the turbo so we can get more power out of that. More fuel. Yes, sir. I would like some more fuel in my fuel mixture. Advance the ignition timing. So we're making 1,158 horsepower at the moment. Let's see if we up our quality here a little bit. We can get up to 1,200. Not quite. Okay, well now we got to get to 1,200 now that I've mentioned it. 1,200, there we go. 1,200. 1,260 is about the max we can get without messing up our engine here. Let's see, I'm liking these curves too. They're not too sharp, not too drastic. 1,347 horsepower. See, I'm going to shoot for 1,400. Beyond that, I don't know if we're really benefiting ourselves beyond 1,400 horsepower. And there we go. We're sitting at a cool 1,402 horsepower. Just about 1,403 horsepower. Close enough for me. 1,400.4. Yeah, it is plenty close enough to 1400 horsepower for me and just over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque at 6,900 RPMs. Nice. This isn't a too terribly steep curve, so it's still going to be quite drivable, I think. And you just have to get up high in the rev range to get that power. Well, first off, we got to design it. Of course, engine's going to be, the valve covers are going to be carbon fiber, deep black, high shine. Of course. Valve cover trim. Okay, couldn't tell you what that's supposed to be. Bolts. Oh yeah, what color do we want our bolts to be? Maybe orange? That'd be pretty punk rock. Orange carbon fiber? I think so. And our intake manifold is just going to be regular old black carbon fiber, just because it looks cool. DOHC basic, sure. Okay, let's give her a listen here. Okay, so she's not going to be quiet. We might even have double reverse flow because that has more dampening. Okay, and that's okay. That actually gave us some horsepower. Let's see how it sounds now. Well, sounds pretty sweet if you ask me, so we can start moving on. We might tweak that engine later. We're gonna worry about the looks of it last. Gonna make sure these fenders are good and wide, because we're gonna need some big boy tires up front. She's gonna be a wide boy, because she's got 1,500 horsepower, and they're gonna need to be able to put that power down. So let's see, all-wheel drive, of course. Dual clutch. As much as I'd like to make it a manual, that doesn't really make sense for a car like this. 7-speed, of course. Top speed of. Okay, we just want to be able to go over the 250 mile an hour mark, so we're just gonna cap it at 400, because that's about 402 is 250 miles an hour, and that seems to be a pretty good barrier to entries. There we go. This seems like a good gear ratio to me, because we're getting to over 100 kilometers an hour in gear 2 only, so there's not going to be many gear changes from 0 to 60 miles an hour, and that'll give us a faster 0 to 60 time, which is more impressive for potential buyers. Weight distribution or power distribution. We'll set that once we know our weight distribution, because we need to know where the weight is to know where to put the power. And of course, an electric limited slip differential. I think, yeah, that's what we'll go for. Radials, of course, semi-slicks. This is a race car. Big boy tires. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Now we can get the biggest tires on the rear, just to see how big we need to mold this, because we don't want to make it any bigger than we really have to. Are those the really big boy tires? Yeah, they are. 395s. Those are big tires. Okay, we'll just push this rim out so it fills that wheel well properly. That's filling up that back end. That is some thick boy tires. That's what it is. All right, and up front, gonna actually have slightly smaller tires, quite a bit smaller tires, just so we have not so much grip in the front, so we're not so prone to oversteering and snapping where we don't want to be. But we want them to be nice and wide so we have good handling. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. I think we'll tune everything once we have stats and everything, and we can have our graphs up and running, ready to go. Magnesium rims, of course. Actually, no, we want alloys. I'd like carbon rims, but oh, here we go. Carbon fiber. I just have to set the year to new. It's 2020 after all. Carbon fiber rims. There we go. That's what we want. Carbon ceramic brakes, of course. Big as they get, so we don't have brake fade and less pistons. That's what I like to do. Bigger brakes, less pistons, less braking power, full comfort, so we can have the biggest brakes possible, so they don't fade from too much heat. That's just something I like to do. Downforce under tray, I think. Lots of downforce, and we're gonna put a wing on the rear here, and then we'll tweak everything again. So we'll just kind of set this as a rough estimate here. Lots of braking airflow. You can never hurt to have too much of that. No back seats, of course. This is a hypercar. It's handmade. Luxury heads-up display, of course. Variable hydraulic. Do we want to go full electric steering? I think we do, so we can have drive modes and stuff. And launch control, of course. Standard to 2020. Safety, active sport suspension, of course, like something similar to the 4GT suspension. That's what I'm kind of thinking here, the new one. Semi-active dampers. I think that'll be the play. And race suspension, and just slam it to the ground. Yeah, there we go. Bit of camber up front. Yeah, this is a high-performance vehicle, so it's not messing around. and she is low. Low as they go. But here we go. We are a little bit prone to oversteer, so we might have to reduce those front wheel size or tune the suspension a little bit. And brakes need to get figured out here. Okay, 3 pistons. Yeah, that's closer to what we need. 3 pistons and just up the pad type a little bit. There we go. We can have the rear brake lock up a little bit. That won't be too bad. That's if you're all the way on it though. Okay, so brakes are perfect to me. Front wheel size just down a little bit to 300s. 300's a nice number in the front. 300, that's still a big tire up front. There we go. I'm a fan of that. Rim offset. Pretty thin for front tires. Well, no, what am I saying? They're huge. Look at how big our brakes are too. We got the big brakes on here because we don't want these brakes getting too hot. Now that all looks good. Downforce. Yeah, we're going to want some front end downforce later. It's going to have a front splitter on it. Yeah, we're going to have it all figured. What's the cost now before we dial anything up? $835,000. So that's about not even a third of the price that we want. So we can up all sorts of stuff here. Suspension is one thing, and the chassis is one thing we're going to put a lot of money into. So it's a little bit, well, we have better handling because we have lots of power, but if you can't handle that, well, it's no good. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to time lapse the design portion because this will take me about a couple minutes at least to design. So I'll time lapse that once I get her figured. Maybe I'll do a little voiceover, a bit of music. We'll see. Let's see what I figure, but we'll start that now. Okay, so we just finished with that designing time lapse. Took me actually quite a while. And you may have noticed I turned the car this awful looking color of pink and a bit of yellow back there. Now I did that for a reason. Because if I can design a car to the point where I think this looks alright, and it's in such a terrible color, that it means it's probably a half decently designed car, right? Like this doesn't look too bad. So when I get the good colors on it, then it'll look way better. So I just, set the expectations lower by doing it this way. Now it's time to retune the paint on here though, so it'll actually look nice, look mint. There's quite a bit that needs to be done for that. And I haven't really got a color in mind, but I was thinking blue would look good on this thing. Ooh, red also looks slick though. Okay, we're gonna go medium, high shine, medium flake. This is a high quality vehicle. That kind of looks sick. Not gonna lie, that kind of looks sick. That's actually kind of sweet. I think this is the color row we need to be on for a good looking car. Oh, but the red looks good too. The Aurora is actually some sort of thing in the sky, and it has a color that looks a bit more like that. Yeah, it is kind of like that. I think this is the way to go. I named it after this space anomaly thing, so we're gonna make it look like that, at least color-wise. Also, this is the Frozen Valley Engineering logo there. We have it front and back. The back is a little bit something else, but it's got this really high Le Mans-inspired wing, and it has these nice rims on it. Air intake for the brake ducts there. Brake ducts come through in here. This is just for show, really. These two grills up here. These three lights is the design I went with, and this big hood scoop. I always like a good old hood scoop on the top of things. So we're gonna finish coloring here, and we're gonna see what we think of it. Okay, and with a couple tweaks of the design and the color, it's looking pretty sweet if you ask me. Now, the main change I've done here, well, obviously the wheels are quite different. This is colored black in here, but I've actually added this little panel right here, and it kinda looks like it's just a continuation of the windows, which looks pretty sweet in my opinion. Makes it kind of look like a capsule there. I think I'm gonna actually get rid of the carbon fiber for a more gloss black. It is carbon fiber still. Everything's carbon fiber, but it just looks more glossy, which I think looks better. Let's keep poking around with our settings a little bit and see what we can do. 1400 horsepower from the motor, sounding sweet. Going into our dual clutch transmission. All this is set up nicely. Our curves aren't too aggressive, which I like. Sounding good. Pretty happy with this car. So let's go into photo mode, I think, and see how this thing looks. Well, there we go. In my humblest of opinions there, that's looking pretty darn sweet. I'm liking the looks of this car. Now that we've got some good footage of this car, I say we should take it in and do some testing. Welcome here. We are here in the real world. We just got done transporting this thing here. Now it had some testing before it got here, and we had to make some minor changes. Nothing cosmetic. Still looks the same as when you last seen it, but it was having some issues with the turbocharger overheating around 300 kilometers an hour, which is not really a huge issue for the consumer, but we like to have our products a little bit nicer than that. So basically, now it has 1600 horsepower. We had to up our intercooler size because the air was getting too hot. So we had to up our intercooler. That was a big restriction for us. Now it makes 1600 horsepower, and it revs to 9500. Just a couple minor changes, like I said, but that is what it is. So let's get it fired up here. Now, of course, we'll start with her in sport mode. Sounds pretty good. That's 1600 horsepower under my right foot. And we'll just start it off just in drive. We'll be nice and tame with it. And we're just gonna drive around. See, there are police around here, and I really don't want to get arrested. Actually, we're putting her in sport. It's a nice car. Now, this car handles really beautifully. I've also upped the tire size to a 320, I think it is. And we're going to want to get on the highway here, because we want to do some high-speed highway pulls. Now, in 5th gear, oopsie, we are already speeding. So just in 6th gear, we'll just bean it around this guy. So we make about 1200 foot-pounds of torque now, a little bit more than before. But here, this is a cop beside me. Well, once we're past this other sports car here in the tunnel, when we get to this straight section, I think there is, we're going to open her up and see what 1600 horsepower feels like. If there wasn't so much darn traffic, that is. Okay, Fritz. Okay, that... Oh, boy. So that was the first unsuccessful test. Let's grab ourselves another car here. There we go. We're all good now. Okay, so it turns out 1600 horsepower is actually quite a bit. I don't think this is a cop here, so let's open her up. Hokey Fritz, we're quick. That was 200 kilometers an hour, just like that. Like it was absolutely nothing. Good brakes in this thing, though. Still some really solid brakes. We're not getting another ticket, are we? I don't see a cop. I hear one, but I don't see one. Let's try our launch control here. Yikes. Well, that guy's flashing, but who knows if it's for me or not. Oh, come on. We want to speed down this ramp. Let's get after it. Here we go. We'll just pull out in front of this guy and let her breathe. Like this thing gets up to speed unbelievably quick. So you want me to pull over? He's in front of me, so couldn't tell you. Turbocharger's still overheating? Oh, I gave you more horsepower. Why would you still be overheating? Let's see if we can get by in here. These cops are in our way. I don't know what the speed limit is, but I'm sure we're not within it, so I don't really want to get pulled over. I think in this first run of testing this car, we're actually going to have a little run from the police. Now, I guess this is the second one. We already crashed once. Through here. It's a good thing this car has good handling. Poor front splitter there. It's okay, we're a manufacturer. We can front the cost. I don't like doing this. Oh my goodness. Okay. So our brakes are good. That is now what we know. We have really solid brakes in this thing. Let's see what kind of times this thing can put down on the drag strip. I imagine it'll be quite ridiculous. Let's see. I have an older car I made back in the day. It's called the FE Opel. FE being the manufacturer. I think this car has something like 1,200 horsepower and a little bit less weight. So this will be interesting. A little bit of launch control. Oh, and we shoot off the line. 200 already. 250, 260. We hit over 300. Yeah, we hit over 300 in a quarter mile. 7.95 seconds. Hokey Fritz, that's moving. He was in 9 seconds. He is far behind. Let's try that again. That time I was shifting myself. Let's see if the vehicle will actually do it faster itself. If I just launch control. Oh, it is quick. It is quick. Much less for me to do here, though. I'm getting a little bored on this quarter mile. 7.843 seconds. And that one was exactly the same. Hokey Fritz, that's pretty quick. And how quick can we slow down? Very quick. That's not VMAX, but it's what, our VMAX is just about 400. So that's moving quick. Yeah, so we hit 300 in a straight, no problem at all. Okay, so we're back on board here. We're going to be testing out the VMAX. So put her in a manual one, foot on the brake, foot on the gas, and launch. And that's already 200 there. 250, 200, 300 kilometers an hour. And she's still hauling up to 300. 380. Can she hit 400? That's the target. Yeah, oh, we're well over 400. 420 already. 440. We get to 450. Come on, you got a little more in you. Now we just need a little bit of nitrous. 447, 48, 49, 450, 450. 450, 455, that's the top number I'm seeing. For some reason we have no flooring under us, but brakes are fading, but we're getting slowed down here. That was not too long to get slowed down either, from 450 something. Let's get back onto where the floor is actually something we can see. Not quite sure what's gone with the floor here, but regardless, we were going quick. We're going to see if we can hit 455 going back in the other direction as well. So we're testing VMAX again. Here we go. Not quite sure what's up with the ground here again, but we'll just have to ignore it. There he goes, back to normal by the looks of things. And we're already up to 7th gear. And now it's just a matter of power. 420, 430. Make sure we don't hit anything coming up here. 445, come on, we got more in her. Come on. 450, 453. 455 kilometers an hour. Now that is 456. And we're getting a 457 on there yet? 457, that is VMAX on this machine. Let's get her slowed down. That is a pretty short braking distance from 450 kilometers an hour to nothing. Like, we were at that post that is just on the right of the screen now. Like, that is... well, we accelerate hard back down to 0. So we got plenty of grip and some big brakes. But let's go see how we do on that racetrack now. So now we're back at the pit lanes, ready to start this this couple flying laps here. And we'll see what we think of the handling of this thing, because we've seen it's proven itself that it has power. Power without grip doesn't do you much good, and it doesn't give you faster lap times. So also, that was about half throttle to get up to 170 there. And I'm not a very good driver, but okay, she power slides out to the outside peg there. It like, need to slow it on down through here. Oh, when we get into the turbo, it's hard to control, I tell you. It's a good thing we got a couple of these. Trying that again. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not hard to lose this thing. It's got 1600 horsepower. Accelerate a little bit later out of here. There we go. Like once you hear that turbo spool up, this thing is just a rocket ship. There it is. Just like that. I gotta get right slowed down for this one. Hit that, come around here. Hit that one, and then there we go. Gotta slow her down a little bit for this. Oh, a little bit wide there, but we're still going, And just let these ponies breathe, all 1,600 of them. She is fast, I think. Uh-oh. Keep her in. Brake. No! Okay, there we go. We're back. We're off to the races again. Yeah, this is not a slow car. This is far from a slow car. I think next time I'm gonna try and build a car that goes over 500 miles an hour. That one won't be a track car. That one will be a drag car. No, it won't even be a drag car. Won't be getting there quick. It's just about getting there. Probably gonna need probably about 2,500 horsepower out of a V10 for that one, I think. Turbocharged V10, I think is how we're gonna do that. Brakes. We're okay. This thing is just not much for traction. Oh, it has huge tires, but just so much power and speed. It's just, you gotta learn how to throw this behemoth around. Could almost go for bigger fronts. I was worried about oversteer being an issue, but it's a pretty bad understeer problem as I'm turning the wheel just about full lock there. Unless I power slide it around, then we're a little quicker, but power sliding is not very quick. Yeah, see, we're having major understeer issues. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna tune the suspension, throw on some bigger front tires once we're done this lap, and take it out again. We're not gonna lose it again. See if that helps us any with, yeah, see, we just can't turn at all. Yeah, that's not good. Turning usually helps. So I think I'm a good enough driver to handle oversteer, so we'll give it a bit more. Yeah, see, we're not getting any traction before the corners, so. But we can power slide up to 180 kilometers an hour, so Okay, so with those adjustments being made, let's see how she feels out on the track. Still, I think it feels even quicker now. We just got, oh yeah, that front end turns in way better now. Yeah, see, we're just about turning in too far. Now I'm losing it around this corner, but all around, it's pretty solid. See, turn it in there, and there we go. Power slide out of the corner. Power slide into this one, to the outside, and power slide out of that one. And just drive the absolute nuts off of this thing. Drifted out of that corner and into the straight. Oi, oi, oi. Turbocharger's overheating, doesn't seem to cause us issues. It just says that, and I still have the same amount of power, so a little lift off there on that corner, lift up there, and brake as hard as we can for this corner. And we can just about make it. Those front brakes are starting to fade at that point. Not really much we can do about that, 'cause they have as much cooling as I can possibly give them, and they have the biggest rotors, the best rotors for that. So that's just going to be what it is. Those are, of course, carbon ceramic brakes, as big as biggest ones as I could fit in there. So we're doing pretty well. They stopped this car hard, but not so hard that it breaks grip usually, which isn't what you want. You want to keep as much grip as possible, because as soon as you start giving up one bit here, I've found that you're just starting to go out the window in all areas. Yeah, see, we're just unreal amounts of speed out of that corner. And we're going to drift that one improperly. Perfect. I'd like to see, the 0 to 60 is supposed to be 2.2 seconds, which is absolutely like blistering fast. But holy Fritz, we're losing her. We're losing her. Like, we are just driving the absolute nuts off of this thing. See how fast we come up over this hill. Don't lose it, don't lose it, don't lose it. Keep on it. Brakes, 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 brakes. Yeah, see, we can't even go at VMAX over that hill. We don't have the grip for it. And we're not going to hit that wall, which is what I like. All in all, this car is actually pretty fun with the slideability. It's a little bit hard to control with the amount of power I've given it. Well, I'm not also being very conservative with my throttle pedal either. I'm just kind of trying to see what this thing can do. So it's getting pushed, obviously, a little bit. Like, this thing is unbelievably fast. Well, should we take it back here, do some hooning with it? I think we should. See, just drop her into third, fourth, fifth even. No, not fifth. We don't have enough torque to kick that back end out. Maybe third. There we go. Wicked power slide. Oh, we're going to spin out there. Hokey Fritz, this thing can just light them up. Let's see, let's just do some donuts here. Keep spinning. Second gear is just about perfect for doing donuts with this thing. Oh my goodness. See, third gear donuts? Anybody? No, third gear puts you into walls. Okay, keep that in mind. And there we go, second gear. Second gear seems to be the sweet spot for controllability. Third gear is good if you're trying to do some high speed drifting. But if you stomp on the brakes there, There we go. Look at that. Third gear, fourth gear, even fifth gear. Fifth gear, she just hooks up and takes off. Look at her go. Look at that. Holy Fritz, this thing has power. So I think, just before we end off here, I'm going to do one real quick 0 to 60 run. So you put your foot on the brake, hit our launch control here, rev her up, and dump out the bottom. Yeah, see, I don't know how long it took us to get to 100 there, but it did not take long. And we'll just park it up nicely right here. Well, with us parked here, I'd like to thank you for watching this video if you did. I plan on doing this again, obviously, and making a more powerful car. And we'll see how that goes. But anyways, thank you for watching, and you have yourself a wonderful day.